Many people buy things online because it's convenient. However, one couple in Chanute learned that convenience could be a headache. I'm Amber Jenkins with a story of online shopping gone wrong.
A World War II hero is honored at the nation's capital. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. Members of the Webb City community tonight come together to mourn the loss of a student. Remember him as well. In May, the body of Rezwan Kostani, a student at Webb City High School, was found unattended on campus. Authorities say the autopsy showed no signs of foul play. Tonight, friends and family held a vigil outside of Webb City City Hall. Meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. Firstly, the forecast. I can't tell you when I'm out and about how many people say, all right, enough of this. Enough of the heat, Nick Kelly.
It's July. I don't know what else to tell you, Jordan. But yeah, with all the dry air in place, it was nice to start this morning up with lows around 63, certainly in Joplin. But that dry air, it heats up fast. I'll tell you what, we hit 100 degrees for this afternoon. At least, if we want to look for the positives around here, we're mostly clear now. Any showers that are trying to develop out in northwestern Kansas are not even going to bother us. We're going to keep the overall region quiet as we go through the rest of the night and into tomorrow morning. Right now, though, still very warm, mid-80s to about 90 degrees still, Jordan. I expect us to drop back into the 70s by tonight. But even though I'm tracking rain chances for the coming weekend, unfortunately, I think we have quite a bit of a hot stretch for next week lining up for us. We'll break down the numbers here in a few.
70s sound pretty good. All right, Nick Kelly, thanks so much. Because of the high temperatures and low precipitation, the fire risk in the area is high. The chief of the Carl Junction Fire Department asking people not to burn anything during these conditions. He says the fires can quickly grow out of control and to hold off on burning if at all possible.
One of those things that the second that you do that, people get upset. They don't like it, and I get it, but it's one of those things is that you have to make those decisions of, you know, what's best for everyone. Because, I've talked to people every day over the last 2 weeks, and we've gone to several outside fires where it's the same thing is said. I had no idea it was this dry out.
Now, if you don't have any idea if a burn ban is in effect in your area, you can go ahead and check out a list on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. A local couple wants to warn others after what they describe as a frustrating online buying experience. What they bought online was a car, but they say it's turned into a big headache. KOM's Amber Jenkins has these details.
In today's era, convenience is important, but at what cost? A couple in Chanute, Kansas has learned that seeking convenience when buying a car online can cause more stress than going to the dealership. KOAM is an online used car dealership based in Texas that promotes the ease of buying a car online and having it delivered to you. However, Parker Stapp and Shauna Buckwood experienced headache rather than convenience.
In the beginning, it was super convenient because we're busy working, full-time jobs, and the convenience of being able to buy a car online was super helpful. We went online, picked out a car, they sent us the paperwork, we signed our documents, sent them back, and they delivered the car right to our front door. So it sounded amazing and perfect.
Parker and Shauna knew something was wrong when they went to the DMV and left empty-handed.
So come to find out, we started researching it a little bit more. They sent the title to our local DMV. The DMV received the title, but they never sent the check or any other proof of purchase from us covering the tax title and registration that we paid for, or a bill of sale or anything. So we were never able to register that car.
While KOAM was still processing registration paperwork, they kept sending the couple temporary tags in the meantime. Texas temporary tags.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but whenever you have a temp tag on your vehicle, whatever state you're in, that temp tag has to be from that state. So legally, even though they're sending this, it's not legal.
Parker and Shauna sought out KOAM for a car because they thought it would be easy and seamless.
So the stress of it all causes tension. And, it's like...
It was so stressful for us
Yeah.
because we were... The biggest thing that I that I had the hardest time with, that was making me the most angry, was I have to pay for this car, and
yeah.
I literally cannot drive it. We had that car for 10 months, Out of that 10 months, I could only legally drive that car for 4 months.
The couple decided to sell the car back to VOOM, which is a long process itself, but at least the nightmare was behind them.
Still a long process, but I felt like at that point we were reaching a resolution.
Parker and Shauna wants potential car buyers to be fully aware of the risks of buying cars online. In Chanute, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
We reached out to VOOM but have not received a response yet. Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt saying FBI agents will not be allowed to audit concealed carry permits collected by county sheriffs. Schmidt sent a letter to FBI Director Christopher Wray saying Missouri law prohibits federal, state, and private entities from having access to records of Missouri residents who have concealed carry permits. He also contended the audits would violate residents' Second Amendment rights. In the Capitol Rotunda, a poignant tribute to Herschel Woody Williams lying in honor today after passing away last month at the age of 98. Congressional leadership holding a ceremony honoring the last living World War II Medal of Honor recipient. Fox's Caroline Shively reports now from D.C.
I know we're classified as a hero very often, but I keep saying I'm not the hero. The heroes didn't get home.
America has lost its last World War II Medal of Honor recipient with the death of Herschel Woody Williams. Williams was just 21 when he faced down machine gun fire at the Battle of Iwo Jima in 1945. As 4 riflemen covered him, the Marine corporal used a flamethrower to wipe out 7 enemy positions. On Thursday, nearly 8 decades later, Williams lay in honor at the Capitol Rotunda.
We have lost a deeply selfless American and a vital link to our nation's greatest generation.
After his service in the Marine Corps, Williams spent 33 years working for the Veterans Administration, then in 2010 started a foundation honoring Gold Star families of the fallen.
Woody knew that true gratitude for our nation's service members ran even deeper than medals.
In 2018, Williams spoke to Fox, saying this about his life of service.
For those miracles to happen, it could only happen in a country like we have. It couldn't happen in any other country.
The ceremony at the U.S. Capitol was one of Williams' last wishes, remembering all Medal of Honor recipients of the greatest generation. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another 4-state hero. G.W. Henderson served in the U.S. Air Force from 1942 to 1946. Native of Columbus, Kansas, Henderson was stationed in England, earning several awards. We are proud to thank Anson Staff Sergeant G.W. Henderson, tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast. A bit later, racing fans in Southeast Kansas getting a chance to meet a 2-time NHRA world champion. Yeah, those details, of course, in sports.
We were hoping we would see relatively good news of the updated drought tracker from this morning, but since we stayed pretty much dry throughout much of last week, even with the slight thunderstorms we had on Friday and even on Tuesday, with some of you seeing some good downpours, a lot of us along the I-44 corridor were now under a moderate drought, with the at least abnormally dry conditions trying to sneak over into more of southeastern Kansas and up to about Nevada and southwestern Missouri. Fortunately, I do have to track some rain chances this weekend, but once we get past that, some of the hottest air that we've seen so far this summer, unfortunately, that's lining up for us as well. Mid-90s for the other day, though. It was nice that the dry air that we did have in place dropped us back into the lower to middle 60s. But that same dry air pushed us back near 100, certainly a drop in regional this afternoon. Thankfully, with the setting sun, we're going to get another brief break from the heat as we go through the night. Doesn't change the fact that it's still a bit warm outside, in fact, almost hot, 89 degrees. Thankfully, with that humidity still low at 39%, we're not dealing with the heat index, so at least that's a silver lining if you're to be venturing out and about late on this Thursday night. A lot of us still, though, in the mid to upper 80s. Some spots in northeast Oklahoma still near 90 degrees. Thankfully, though, the humidity's starting to pick back up, but this has been staying dry all day. However, a slight bump in the humidity with temperatures back in the upper 90s for tomorrow. Certainly in southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma, we got heat advisories to contend with because it can make it feel like 105 in some spots for tomorrow. On the other hand, we're keeping things quiet with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. A weak frontal boundary that's been trying to develop could play a role in the forecast in terms of bringing rain chances our way for this weekend, along with some upper level waves that'll try to come along around the ridge and down the northwest flow of the jet stream near us. But I'll tell you what, this upper level ridge just wants to play some nasty tricks on us with the way temperatures are looking by the middle of next week. We'll get to that in a moment for sure, just to give you a big heads up on that. But at least we're mostly clear for the overnight to start. Maybe a few clouds tomorrow morning, but still I think we'll drop back into the lower to middle 70s for much of the region. I think we'll be in the lower 90s easily tomorrow afternoon, but for some reason the future track is underdoing cloud cover here. I think we'll have partly sunny skies and maybe just the slimmest chance of a random storm in the afternoon. Otherwise, 74 in the morning, 93 by noon, highs near 98. Let's fast forward to Saturday. Kind of a warm start to the morning, lows in the mid 70s, near 100 almost for Saturday, but another wave with that front nearby could try to bring in a few isolated storms. Sunday looks to be our best shot for any scatter rain or storms with the last of these waves before the upper level ridge really builds back in. And we're talking about heat that we haven't seen, at least for Tuesday, since the summer of 2012. So far, I want to say 105 for Tuesday afternoon. Hopefully I don't have to go any higher because I don't want to go any higher. That's already high enough. But upper 90s Friday and Saturday, Jordan, 94 Sunday. And we're talking about heat we haven't experienced really since, what do we want to say, that summer of 2012, my first summer down here. And goodness knows that was a miserable summer.
The thing about it is that we're already in the midst of already dangerous temperatures. So next week is just going to be off the chart.
Yeah, certainly for anybody that has trouble accessing air conditioning or caring for the elderly who can't handle the heat, you're going to want to pay close attention to the forecast next week.
Check up on them as well. Kelly, thank you so much. See you in a little bit. Flash flood has devastated portions of Virginia after a major storm there. Fox's Brandy Campbell has more.
Officials in Virginia say everyone is now accounted for following a major storm in their southwestern region. Crews worked through the morning Thursday in the flooded areas to help locate 44 people previously reported missing. The heavy rain caused dangerous floods that washed away dozens of homes, damaged several businesses, and left thousands without power.
We've seen everything from the landslides to just flooded roads where the road's been completely washed away.
Many in the community say they're trying to come to grips with their new reality and the long road to recovery ahead.
Most of them just cry. They're destroyed. Their whole life is destroyed. I mean, they just don't know what to do.
And some of them said they didn't have flood insurance.
And a lot of them don't have flood insurance.
Some areas are still hard to access, and emergency crews say they have to drive hours out of the way to places that used to take just minutes. A shelter has been set up at a local elementary school, and the state's governor has declared a state of emergency to mobilize resources for those affected. For now, authorities in Buchanan County are asking for help and donations in order to get the cleanup started.
Our immediate need at this time is cleaning supplies, such as mops, buckets, shovels, general cleaning supplies, bleach, stuff like that.
Starting Friday, officials will start going door to door to assess damage for those impacted. In Van Sant, Virginia, I'm Brandy Campbell for Fox News.
All right, coming up, going to hear more about high prices practically everywhere.
Prices have gone up for shoppers and producers as we get another bad economic report. I'm Lauren Blanchard in Washington. I'll have the latest look at the numbers coming up.
Amazon's smart doorbell company Ring admitting it's given law enforcement doorbell video without the owner's consent. The company told Congress in a letter earlier this month it's happened 11 times so far this year. Amazon's VP of Public Policy said Ring often makes its own, quote, good faith determinations as to whether to provide the surveillance footage. Ring currently partners with more than 2,000 law enforcement agencies that can request surveillance data from Ring doorbells. A new report today showing that not only are consumers getting walloped by inflation spikes, but so are producers. And of course, usually those price hikes are passed on. Fox's Lauren Blanchard in D.C. with more on the numbers.
Another bad economic report for the White House. The Labor Department showing that for wholesalers, inflation rose by 11.3% in June compared to a year ago. This one day after another report showed consumer inflation was up 9.1%.
Used to be more fun to go out to eat, and now it's too expensive to do that.
A top driver for the high inflation is energy. President Biden is overseas trying to boost global oil production in the hopes it will help bring down prices at American pumps.
People want to see action, and they want to see the price come down as a result of that action. It's a challenge because in the energy markets, very few things happen right away.
The Federal Reserve has been aggressively raising interest rates to try to cool inflation, but now Bank of America economists are predicting a mild recession is all but guaranteed in the second half of 2022.
I think we're heading into a recession, unfortunately.
Other analysts say the recession is already here.
We're in a recession now. I don't know how anybody thinks we're going to get one in 23 when we're there right now.
The Fed is expected to meet later this month.
The Fed has probably got to lift rates by a whole percentage point at the next meeting, and then they've got to continue at rates about that high if they want to get ahead of the curve.
Data also shows wages are not keeping up with inflation. Real average hourly earnings are down more than 3.5% compared to just a year ago. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
U.S. mortgage rates on the rise again. The 30-year fixed rate mortgage averaged just over 5.5% for the week that ended July 14th, according to Freddie Mac. That's up from 5.3% the week before and nearly twice the amount it was at this time last year. Freddie Mac's chief economist says rates are at a high not seen in more than a decade. Still ahead, saying farewell to a well-established store important to teachers, also students. Some Miami, Oklahoma residents should expect to be without water tomorrow morning. The city of Miami issued a statement saying at 8 a.m. they're going to be working to connect a new water main. The water main is going to be installed along Rockdale and Jefferson, going east down Rockdale to Crestline. Officials say the install should take about 5 hours. So heads up. It's the end of an era. An educational supply store that teachers and parents have depended on for almost half a century is about to close its doors. And as Joe Hickman reports from Springfield, the four-state area is losing much more than poster board and glue.
The parking lot is full at IPA Educational Supply in South Springfield these days, as news spread that one of the area's largest and best-known sources of school supplies and educational materials for teachers and parents will be closing by mid-August after almost 47 years in business. So customers are coming from as far away as Illinois and Oklahoma to stock up.
Teachers are very dedicated and they just want to make their classrooms look inviting, and so they'll travel just to do that.
And that's why, in reacting to the closing,
the teachers say it's not okay. I've been teaching since 1994, and we come every year as a group.
We talked with this group from Round Grove Christian Academy in Miller, Missouri,
No, you're good.
and these teachers from Springfield's New Covenant Academy, who explained that the store is not just about providing helpful materials for learning, but it's also about finding decorations for their classroom that create a positive ambiance and spirit.
When I started teaching, this was the first place that I came because it kind of sets the tone for your classroom.
You go into these stores like this looking for what adds and complements that vision of how your kids can learn best.
Kind of inspires you where you want to go with your theme, where you want to go with your class. It helps with the atmosphere, but it also helps with the educational part of it.
You're hopeful that you're making a difference, but until we made the announcement, we didn't realize how much of a difference it was.
Owner Amy Green has been amazed by the emotional reaction to the store's closing, and she's emotional too, because she's been at IPA since her parents started the business in 1976, when she was just 8 years old. But she and her husband decided it was time to close after they got a generous offer to buy the building following a downturn in business during the pandemic.
That affected our sales, but then it also made us step back and think that maybe we do want to spend more time with our family.
And while customers will now have to go online or visit smaller stores that have a school supply section,
there's definitely a lot more here.
I think it's sad that it's closing.
It's going to be missed tremendously.
Yeah, we've built relationships with these customers, so we will miss them, but they will also miss us.
Green says the closing sale is going to continue until they close their doors officially in August. All right, up next, going to learn what's so special about this group of skydivers. All right, a group of skydivers in Ohio reaching new heights. The Daredevils broke the record for the largest skydiving formation with 48 people. Look at that. They jumped out of 3 planes, then carefully aligned to create the formation. I want to watch this myself. Carefully creating the formation before breaking away and deploying their parachutes. They're still lining up. Goodness, 48 of them. Now, the previous record of 33 was set more than 10 years ago. This is always fun to watch. I'm not that point in my life yet where I'm ready to do something like this, you know, but it's good to watch. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to check out a park and mural along Route 66 in Baxter Springs, Kansas. Plus, some Missouri Southern students talking about their trip studying abroad while sharing some of the culture they experienced.
Promotional.
Joplin resident is warning others about a cruel trick played on her through Facebook Messenger. KOAM's Yana Hatala has these details.
A Joplin resident named Brooke received a Facebook message from who she thought was her grandmother, claiming her mother had died in a car crash. But the nature of message tipped Brooke off that it was a scam.
I immediately just thought like she had been hacked, so I didn't open the link.
Things got more serious once Brooke got a message from someone who seemed to be her mother's boss, asking when her mother's funeral would be held.
I, at that point, thought that my mom was dead. Putting both of the messages together, I thought that she had died in a car accident.
Brooke left work calling her mother, who answered. She confirmed that the messages were all scams. Officials with the Joplin Police Department say scam calls and messages are received on a daily basis. Captain William Davis encourages people to ask for help when receiving suspicious messages or calls.
It's always okay to inquiry with local law enforcement agency, financial institutions. Just do those checks. That way, I mean, you're taking steps to not be victimized.
In a situation like this, the officer says to investigate before taking action.
Get your senses and just kind of look into it a little bit further. That's the best advice is don't just take it on face value and immediately act upon it.
Reporting in Joplin, Janna Hautala, KOAM News.
Brooke says she reported the case to police. Visitors to Baxter Springs, Kansas can look forward to a new roadside park near the museum along Route 66. The park is going to be funded in part with the help of a $40,000 state grant. An official says the new roadside park is going to allow both local and international tourists to experience the community.
Be able to highlight that and allow tourists to not only experience the historical past but also access our downtown shops and businesses. We can support our local economy and we can kind of help raise Baxter Springs up in our own way.
The Baxter Springs Museum is open and free to all visitors. A local organization today made a big donation to the Spiva Center for the Arts. The Friends of St. Avips is a group dedicated to promoting interest in financial assistance to the center. And today they did just that with a $122,000 donation.
We were just thrilled that we could donate this, especially after the last couple of years with grants not coming through. This is something that we want to see the Art Center continue for 60 years to come.
The group says this is the largest donation they've ever made. All right, if you think princesses are just in those fairy tales, think again. The Pittsburgh YMCA hosted its annual Princess Camp. KOAM photojournalist Carrie Worthen visited the camp.
Here it comes. So the Princess Camp this year, it's just a 3-day camp in the mornings for girls to dance and have fun. And we've been doing it for at least 5 years every summer as just a fun little dance camp to have here.
Can you show me how to point your toe? Point the other toe.
We love seeing it be a positive experience for them because they do get to dance and have fun, but they also get to act like princesses, and we love just seeing those smiles on their faces, see their self-esteem as being a princess or having magic, and we just want to continue to empower them to have that positivity and have that joy and know that we do think that all of them are princesses.
Good job, good tippy toe walk. Very pretty, okay, very good. Okay, where do you look?
My favorite Disney princess is Mulan because she defies all odds.
You like Elsa? Very good.
Over the course of the 3 days, the princesses made their own crowns, wands, and unicorn headbands. So cool, so fun. Some students from Missouri Southern's history and kinesiology departments recently returned from studying abroad in Spain and France. Today, talked about their experiences in an event called Travel Tales and Tapas. Those experiences ranged from educational to cultural. Well, liver disease may be linked to dementia. That's according to research in Sweden that found patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease had a 38% higher rate of dementia. Researchers did not find a higher rate of Alzheimer's disease. New research in Canada finds children born to mothers with polycystic ovary syndrome have an increased risk of developing health issues by age 13. Children of mothers with PCOS were 31% more likely to be admitted to the hospital with an infectious disease, and 47% were more likely to be admitted with allergy-related problems. PCOS is a common disorder of the ovaries, affecting as many as 10% of reproductive age women. A bit later, the WNBA player being held in Russia.
More revelations in the Brittany Griner case as the American basketball star heads back to a Russian courtroom. I'm Greg Palkov in London. That's my story. Coming up.
Even though we did have some rain and thunderstorms last Friday and back on Tuesday this week, we were not expecting it to squash this drought. And in fact, the updated drought tracker from this morning actually expanded the moderate drought to cover much of northeast Oklahoma along the Turnpike, southwestern Missouri along I-44, and in fact, even just abnormally dry conditions, more of it overtaking parts of southeast Kansas up to Chanute and up to Nevada in southwestern Missouri. But I do have rain chances that I'm tracking as we get into the coming weekend, which thankfully starts tomorrow. But also tomorrow, much of southeast Kansas, much of northeast Oklahoma, a little uptick in the humidity with highs back in the upper 90s to near 100. Those are heat advisories for you all from 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon until we hit about 8 o'clock going into the evening. So the main name of the game, though, was keeping things hot. We certainly did that the other day with highs in the mid-90s, lower 60s, and even middle 60s this morning with the dry air in place, but that catapulted us back near 100 degrees at Joplin Regional this afternoon. Thankfully, with the sun set now, we are seeing the numbers trend downward, but it's still really warm outside. It's 89 in Joplin. Thankfully, it doesn't feel any hotter because that humidity still at 39%. That is bone dry air, which has been of a mixed blessing of sorts. It didn't help with the wildfires that tried to pop up around Joplin not too long ago. But it's going to take everybody out of the 80s this evening down into the, let's say, lower to middle 70s as we go into tomorrow morning. Not much else happening across the area in the Skywatch Storm Tracker. I am watching at the surface a developing frontal boundary that's going to try to edge closer to us, give us maybe a few chances for thunderstorms tomorrow and Saturday, maybe a better chance on Sunday with some upper level waves coming along the jet stream as well. But I want to keep a very close eye on that big blue H upstairs. It wants to play some nasty tricks on us, certainly with the way temperatures are going as we go into the middle of next week. In the short term, though, even with a little cloud cover trying to work in by tomorrow morning, we will still drop back into the lower to middle 70s. Let's go lower to middle 90s by the noon hour tomorrow, and then pushing upper 90s to near 100. Feels a little hotter, especially parts of southeast Kansas where you could feel like 105. Same goes for northeast Oklahoma. If you're around Joplin, you'll start at 74, 93 by noon. We'll top out around 98. With the first wave coming in, maybe a random storm tomorrow afternoon. We're going to keep things quiet for your Saturday morning, though, and then we'll watch for another wave, try to give us a few isolated storms on Saturday. If we have any decent shot for rain within the next 7 days, it's going to come our way Sunday before the upper ridge really starts to build in the heat. How hot am I expecting? Well, after a string of 90s through Sunday, 100 Monday, at the very least, unfortunately, I'm thinking 105 going into Tuesday and then going back into the lower triple digits for Wednesday and Thursday. So unfortunately, Jordan, these rain chances trying to line up isn't going to scrub out the heat, which is really unfortunate because the last time we hit 105 was August 3rd, 2012. And we know how miserable that summer was for us.
Yeah. Those of us with gardens, thirsty plants. Thirsty people, thirsty plants.
And the livestock. Don't forget the livestock.
That's right. Too. Very true. Nick Kelly, thank you so much as always. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with KOAM Skywatch Weather app. You can get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone, free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store, also the Google Play Store if you have an Android phone. All you have to do, search for KOAM Skywatch weather app. Coming up in sports, Joplin Outlaws aiming to take over first place in the Mink League South Division. Plus, a Pitt State graduate returning to town for a big weekend at MoKan Dragway. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, the Joplin Outlaws are on a 3-game winning streak, and that streak has the Outlaws just a half game behind the Sedalia Bombers for first place in the Mink League South Division. Now, Joplin has a chance to get that winning streak to 4 games and take over first place tonight, hosting the Bombers. That one is in the bottom of the 7th right now. Joplin leads at 5-4. Max Bruff is 1 for 3 on the evening for the Outlaws with a home run and 3 RBIs. Well, folks in Southeast Kansas get a chance today to meet a 2-time NHRA World Champion drag racer, Megan Meyer-Linger, 2015 graduate of Pittsburgh State University. She brought her dragster into Pittsburgh's Block 22 this evening, taking a few pictures and meeting up with fans. This thing's top speed, by the way, 285 miles per hour. The former gorilla actually retired from racing a couple years ago, but she's coming out of retirement to compete tomorrow and Saturday at the 60th anniversary Nitro Chaos at MoKan Dragway.
I raced at MoKan back when, ever since I was a little kid. So I'd bring my junior dragster out here starting at 10 years old. And then I naturally wanted to go to Pitt State because the drag strip is just right down the road, but also they have a really good program at the College of Technology. It's really special to have the Nitro Chaos come here to MoKan for the first time. And it's just something that I had to do as soon as I heard it was going to be at MoKan, because MoKan and Pitt State is my home track.
The Kansas City Royals finish up the first half of the season with a 4-game series on the road against the Toronto Blue Jays. The Royals are without 10 players for that series, with those guys being unvaccinated and the series being played in Canada. That includes the team's only all-star Andrew Benintendi and other starters like Whit Merrifield and Hunter Dozier. The show goes on, though. The Royals called up 8 minor leaguers today for their trip to Toronto. In Game 1, Kansas City wins a good one 3-1. Bobby Witt Jr. and Nate Eaton each hit a home run for the Royals. Now for Eaton, who was called up today, it is his first career hit. As for the St. Louis Cardinals, they wrap up their series with the Dodgers. Cards aiming for the series win after splitting the first 2 games. St. Louis, though, they didn't score in this one. They fall 4-0. They'll be back in action tomorrow against the Cincinnati Reds. Finally, today's the opening round of the Open Championship. Tiger Woods looking for major wins, 16 of his career. Didn't go very well today, though. Misses the par putt on the 4th. Tiger 4 over through 4 holes today. And the struggles would continue from the fairway here. Comes up well short in the valley, short of the green. Then on the next shot immediately after that, runs it right on by everything. Tiger 5 over in round 1. 25-year-old Cameron Young from the United States shoots an 8 under 64 today. He leads it after the first round. And that's it for sports. We're back after this.
Trump family is mourning the loss of Ivana Trump. Ivana was former President Donald Trump's first wife and the mother of their 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric Trump. The couple divorced in 1992. In a statement, the former president said Ivana was a wonderful and amazing woman who, quote, led a great and inspirational life. Ivana was 73 years old. The cause of her death has not been released. More revelations in the Brittany Griner case as the American basketball star heads back to a Russian courtroom. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Pelcott has more now from London.
It's the latest court appearance for a high-profile American detained in Russia. WNBA star Brittany Griner attending a hearing in a courtroom just outside Moscow, 1 week after pleading guilty to drug charges. Authorities allegedly found marijuana oil in her luggage at Moscow's Sheremetyevo airport back in February. She's facing up to 10 years in prison. And on Thursday, her legal team began the process of requesting leniency, arguing there were extenuating circumstances, pointing out she tested negative for all banned substances and presenting character witnesses, including Griner's Russian teammates.
We understand Brittany's contribution to the success of our team, so we are trying to do what we can for her.
Brittany was always a great teammate. That's why I'm here, to support her.
The State Department insists Griner is being wrongfully detained, suggesting her arrest was a result of America's opposition to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Negotiations for her release reportedly now underway.
President Biden is laser focused on a government-to-government solution to this issue. We are working directly with the Russian government.
But the Russians say this is a criminal trial, not a diplomatic negotiation, and the legal process needs to play out before any talks about a prisoner swap can begin.
Court proceedings are still ongoing, and it would be premature to discuss any option for her to return home, as if they don't already know that.
Griner's Russian legal team expects the trial to wrap up sometime in early August. In London, Greg Palka, Fox News.
Coming up, going to hear from the cast of the latest installment of a popular kids movie franchise. Netflix is teaming up with Microsoft to create a new ad-supported plan. The video streaming service has previously announced its intention to offer consumers a lower-cost option that would include commercials. Yesterday, it said Microsoft would be its advertising technology and sales partner in the new endeavor. In March, Netflix said its subscriber base had declined for the first time since 2011. Jack Black is back for Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight, continuing the popular franchise with a Netflix series. We spoke to him and his co-stars about the new adventure, now streaming. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
It's the Dragon Master! Kung Fu Panda is back in action and on a new globe-trotting adventure with the new Netflix series, The Dragon Knight.
I could save China!
Actor Jack Black reprises his role as the famous panda and shared what he did to get back into Po mode.
I try to get into my teen year mindset and remember what I was like when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, because that feels like prime Kung Fu Panda Po character years, you know? I mean, I already have a lot of that. I'm still kind of a kid in many ways. I still like my video games and my comic books.
My name is Luthera, the Wandering Blade.
Singer Rita Ora joins the franchise, bringing in a new character.
The best thing I loved was curating my own character amongst such legendary characters. So I just thought, what could be different for Wandering Blade? You know, what can she give to such an iconic franchise, and something that I'm hoping will be around for a while.
James Hong returns, voicing Mr. Ping, and shared how animation is a unique creative process.
In a sense, you as an actor take more control of what's in the picture because you're there alone with the director. You have to do something to connect with the other characters by purely imagination.
Paul, are you expecting company?
Kung Fu Panda: The Dragon Knight premieres on the streamer July 14th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a bear cooling off in a Massachusetts pond. Now, you're going to see big old smile on that bear. He's got the bare necessities going on. Hey, be safe. There's that smile. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.